While some are hopeful regarding North Korea's alleged willingness to discuss their nuclear weapons, others, understandably, are skeptical, considering North Korea's abysmal diplomatic history. But you can put our next guest in that second category, former U.S. ambassador to the UN and a Fox News contributor, John Bolton. Good to see you, John. Let me bring us all back. Before we start debating about whether or not negotiating with the North Korean regime is going to do any good to anybody, let's go back to January when Donald Trump tweeted out something that scared the hell out of the mainstream media. And I'll just read the tweet for those who've forgotten. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un just stated that the nuclear button is on his desk at all times. Will someone from his depleted and food-starved regime please inform him that I, too, have a nuclear button, but it's much bigger and more powerful than his, and my button actually works. Now, the mainstream media, as I said, just freaked out at this, but it turns out he made some more distance than they had in terms of getting him to the negotiating table.
Yeah, look, I think that tweet and series of others and other things the president said finally got through to the North Korean leadership, and they realized that Barack Obama is no longer president. Here's a president who's prepared and ready to use military force, not because he wants to, but because he's not afraid to, like Obama and some of the other predecessors. And that, I think, brought them to the realization that they are very, very close to achieving their objective of getting deliverable nuclear weapons, and they're quite worried that they may not make it because Donald Trump's prepared. When he says all options are on the table, he really means it.
That's right. And we've seen that play out in Syria and other places. But I understand you're skeptical of any kind of negotiation with this regime, but I think the president is as well. Remember, he kind of tweaked Rex Tillerson, his Secretary of State, for believing in negotiation when he didn't. So I think he really believes that without hardball, you can't play at all with these guys.
No, I think that's clearly right. And I think the point he and Vice President Pence have tried to make is there may be conversations with North Korea, but there's going to be no change in the policy of squeezing North Korea. What the North wants, and, you know, we've only heard their side of it so far filtered through South Korea, is they're willing to make concessions. We don't have to do anything. Forget that. When it comes down to it, they'll want us to stop joint maneuvers with South Korea. They'll want us to pull the Navy back from the East Sea and the West Sea, as they call the Sea of Japan, and the Yellow Sea. They'll want us to do a lot of things that the administration cannot do. It's precisely the pressure that's causing the North Koreans concern.
But with China cheating on the sanctions, how do we apply that pressure?
Well, I think ultimately, if there's going to be a diplomatic play, it's with China to reunite the peninsula or overthrow the North Korean regime, and I'm not sure there's time for that to happen. I mean, one question for everybody who thinks the sanctions have worked here is how much aid was Iran giving North Korea before these new sanctions, and how much aid is Iran giving North Korea today? Whatever the number is, it's completely unchanged because the North Koreans and the Iranians couldn't care less about each other's sanctions. We know that from North Korea selling Syria, right, financed by Iran, the elements of a chemical weapons program.
But, you know, the irony is about all this talk of tariffs against Canada and Mexico, why don't we just apply with a single focus on China, one, to get them on steel, what they're doing with steel, and two, to get them on what they're doing with North Korea?
Well, I think the Chinese are manipulating and dumping steel much more than many of our other competitors, and I do think that's the ultimate target, and much more broadly in the trade area, too, stealing intellectual property and more.
Absolutely. Ambassador Bolton, great to see you, sir. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you, David.
Appreciate it.